Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're unpacking a cultural figure whose identity is defined by, well, explosive creativity, relentless self-reinvention, and some deeply, deeply polarizing public commentary. Kanye West, now legally known as Ye.
That is precisely our task. You, the listener, provided this massive volume of source material with like a kind of logical and thematic map of a career spanning 3 turbulent decades.
So our mission is to extract the essential knowledge from all of that.
Exactly. This isn't just a biography. We're aiming for an unbiased analysis of how one man became, maybe the most prominent and controversial artist of the 21st century.
Our goal is crystal clear then.
Yeah.
We need to distill this history into a balanced analysis, highlighting the specific artistic innovations, the sheer breadth of his multi-billion-dollar business ventures, and
the profound, often chaotic personal pivots that have defined him. I mean, we are talking about an artist who managed to top the Billboard charts across 3 distinct decades.
That's incredible.
What's fascinating here is that the sheer weight of the source material immediately forces us to view his trajectory through 3 distinct and often conflicting lenses at the same time.
Okay, what are they?
First, you have the revolutionary producer and rapper who is constantly redefining genre boundaries.
Right.
Second, the relentless entrepreneur and designer who built this vast empire. And third, the polarizing public figure whose erratic conduct, often driven by intense personal views and widely reported mental health struggles, consistently upends his own success.
So we have to track both things at once. The rapid stylistic shifts that define his mastery.
But also the equally fast succession of self-created controversies that had consistently defined his public life.
And crucially, we're starting not with the chart success, but with that foundational moment of rebellion that really defined his future narrative. Dropping out of college at age 20.
Yes, an act of defiance. Particularly because, as the sources note, it greatly displeased his mother, Donda West.
Who was herself a professor at Chicago State University at the time?
Exactly. This tension between institutional success and a radical personal pathfinding, that's really the blueprint for everything that follows.
Okay, let's unpack this.
The early chapters of Ye's life offer such vital context. He was born Kanye Omari West in 1977, and after his parents divorced when he was 3, he moved to Chicago.
And his foundation, as the sources really emphasize, was middle-class, intellectual, and deeply artistic. A background that sharply contrasted with the dominant gangster rap narrative of the late 90s.
That intellectual pedigree is so key, isn't it? His mother, Donda West, an English professor, later the chair of the English department at Chicago State, before she stepped in to manage his career.
And his father, Ray West, was a former Black Panther and one of the first Black photojournalists at the Atlanta Journal-Constitution.
So you see that intense curiosity and artistic affinity just manifest extremely early. I mean, writing poetry at 5.
Rapping in 3rd grade, composing music by 7th grade. It was always there.
And we can't overlook that international experience.
Yeah.
At age 10, he lived in Nanjing, China. While his mother taught there as a Fulbright scholar, he was reportedly the only foreigner in his class. And he picked up the language quickly, even if he later forgot it.
That experience of being an outsider who had to, rapidly assimilate and reinvent himself, that must have informed his later willingness to constantly shift his aesthetic.
Absolutely. Though his journey through academia was brief, he attended the American Academy of Art on a scholarship for painting.
A detail a lot of people overlook, showing his interest in visual art wasn't secondary.
No, not at all. Then he transferred to Chicago State for English. But by age 20, he made the pivot that forms the conceptual core of his debut, dropping out entirely to pursue music.
A decision that put him immediately at odds with his family's established path.
And that tension, the decision to reject the prescribed path to find his own, is what makes the college dropout so potent later on. But before that, he was pure hustle.
He began producing for Chicago artists in the mid-1990s, getting his first official credit at 19 on Grav's Down to Earth in 1996.
Right, and the sources show a period of necessary professional compromise. For a time, he was a ghost producer for Derek D. Angeletti.
Which gave him experience, but also ironically prevented him from releasing his own solo material.
He later formed the group The Go-Getters, released world record holders in 1999, but the true breakthrough, the moment that put him on the map, happened around 2000.
That was Rockefeller Records.
That's it. He became an in-house producer. The narrative shifts from local hustle to national influence. He's widely credited with revitalizing Jay-Z's career with his contributions to the 2001 classic, The Blueprint.
And his sound was instantly identifiable. That technique of chopping and pitching up vintage soul samples, what people call chipmunk soul.
It was glossy, warm, and highly melodic. It injected an emotional depth back into mainstream hip-hop production.
But here lies the foundational paradox of his early career. Despite being maybe the most acclaimed producer in hip-hop,
He struggled intensely to get signed as a rapper.
multiple record companies, including Capitol Records, just denied or ignored him. And why?
Because his image, middle class, articulate, more introspective, it just didn't fit the dominant commercial image of the hardcore gangsta rapper that ruled the airwaves at the time.
That rejection must have fueled his determination.
The sources indicate that Damon Dash only reluctantly signed him to Rockefeller as a recording artist, and mainly to prevent him from defecting to another label and taking his production skills with him.
So it was a utilitarian signing, not really a vote of confidence in him as a star.
Not at all. And then came the moment of physical and creative crisis that crystallized his path.
The car accident. October 2002. Near fatal. Shattered his jaw.
And instead of recovering quietly, 2 weeks later, with his jaw still literally wired shut, he recorded Through the Wire.
That event was transformative. The song, with his voice all distorted and struggling against the wires, it wasn't just a hit.
It became the ultimate emotional and conceptual centerpiece for his debut album. He announced The College Dropout, defining the theme not just as personal defiance, but as a broader challenge to society.
Make your own decisions. Don't let society tell you this is what you have to do.
The tragedy became the ultimate artistic selling point.
So the emergence of Ye as a solo artist really marks a turning point for 21st century hip-hop. The College Dropout finally lands in February 2004.
Though its journey was marked by intense friction, it was postponed 3 times, and it suffered a pre-release leak.
And here's where his relentless perfectionism first became, legendary.
Instead of rushing it out, the sources show he took that leaked version as an opportunity. He spent months remixing, remastering, revising the whole thing.
Adding new verses, bringing in gospel choirs, polishing string arrangements.
This commitment to achieving the ideal sound, even after the product was technically out, it demonstrates a drive that would define his entire career.
And the results were just undeniable. Triple platinum sales and a thematic revolution.
It intentionally diverged from the dominant gangster rap tropes, focusing on subjects previously considered too vulnerable or academic for mainstream rap.
Right. Things like institutional prejudice, higher education debt, class struggle, self-consciousness about his own success and faith.
A great example of this is Jesus Walks. Industry execs were so hesitant, predicting a song with such blatant declarations of faith would never get mainstream radio play.
But it did. It reached the Billboard Top 20, which just showed that the audience was hungry for introspective, spiritual hip-hop that offered depth beyond the established formulas.
And beyond his own success, 2004 saw him immediately transition into the role of a mogul.
He founded Good Music, a record label and production company, bringing in John Legend and Common as the first artists.
He wasn't content just being a star. He was building a platform, defining a new aesthetic for others.
Then for his sophomore album, Late Registration in 2005, the ambition just exploded into true maximalism.
The sources detail how he invested a staggering $2 million of his own money into the project, taking over a year to complete it. The financial commitment reflected his artistic confidence.
And the sound expanded dramatically because he finally had the budget and control to execute his vision. He was inspired by live orchestration, particularly Portishead's Roseland NYC Live.
So he brought in film score composer John Brian as co-executive producer to incorporate these elaborate string arrangements and instrumentation. He created what critics called chamber pop within a hip-hop record.
This strategy paid off immensely. Late Registration was a commercial behemoth, selling over 2.3 million units that year.
And importantly, it was considered the only successful major album release of the fall 2005 season, which was a period of rapid decline in CD sales.
So his dominance was established right as the rest of the industry was starting to falter. But even as he reached these artistic heights, that pattern of public polarization began to accelerate.
2005, the televised Hurricane Katrina benefit concert. He went completely off script,
criticizing the government's slow and racially disparate response, culminating in that famous unscripted statement, George Bush doesn't care about black people.
That was a huge public risk. It was an enormous intensely polarizing at the time.
And yet, the sources also show a history of complex retraction and reevaluation on his part. 5 years later, in 2010, he apologized for calling President Bush a racist,
stating he didn't have the grounds and that he was programmed to think from a victimized mentality. This willingness to apologize, yet frame the original act as coming from a complex, if flawed, social viewpoint. That became another consistent feature of his public life.
And then in 2006, the first of the major self-sabotaging award show outbursts.
The MTV Europe Music Awards. He stormed the stage when his song Touch the Sky lost, arguing he should have won.
Hundreds of news outlets globally criticized that outburst. He did apologize shortly after, even spoofed the incident on SNL.
But that core pattern was firmly set. Extreme artistic confidence bleeding into public entitlement, immediately followed by controversy and a swift, temporary apology.
So then the completion of his education trilogy arrives in 2007 with Graduation.
And instead of refining the orchestral sound of Late Registration, he pivots again. A big shift towards stadium-filling arena rock and Europop.
A perfect example is Stronger, which famously samples Daft Punk.
This shift wasn't just personal, it was industry-defining. Graduation is widely credited with encouraging other hip-hop artists to shed that classic hardcore persona and incorporate elements of house and electronica.
The sources even say this album helped kill the mainstream commercial dominance of the hardcore gangsta rap image. It set the stage for the next decade of rap.
But this incredible creative momentum was tragically shattered by intense personal loss.
In November 2007, his mother, Donda West, died after complications from cosmetic surgery.
In the following year, 2008, his engagement to Alexis Pfeiffer ended. The sources confirmed this profound grief and isolation fueled his most radical artistic departure yet.
The result was 808s and Heartbreak in 2008.
Recorded in a furious 3-week session in Honolulu, the album was minimalist, cold, and heavily reliant on synthesizers and the Roland TR-808 drum machine.
And crucially, he used autotune not as a pitch correction tool, but as a deliberate vocal effect, a way to convey this deep synthetic sadness and alienation.
It was initially polarizing, wasn't it? Critics and audiences used to the opulence of Late Registration found it abrasive.
But that's the key insight. Retrospectively, it's considered hugely transformative. It legitimized emotional vulnerability, singing, and auto-tune for serious rappers.
It really set the stage for artists like Drake and Kid Cudi, who later embraced those emotional styles. It proved that immediate negative reactions don't always dictate long-term cultural impact.
And in a final act that just capped off this period of genius and volatility came the infamous 2009 VMAs incident.
He interrupted Taylor Swift's acceptance speech for Best Female Video, arguing that Beyoncé deserved the award.
The backlash was instant and universal. Not only celebrities, but then President Barack Obama famously called him a jackass.
And while he offered apologies at the time, this is where the cycle becomes troubling. By November 2010, he recanted his apology.
Describing the interruption not as impulsive, but as a selfless act done in service of true art.
And that moment permanently fractured the public narrative. The artistic genius could no longer be separated from the chaos it seemed to actively court.
So following the condemnation from the VMA incident, you retreated. He threw himself into fashion briefly, and then into this period of extreme artistic focus in Hawaii.
To record what many, consider his undisputed masterpiece, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy in 2010, this period really represents the absolute peak of his maximalist artistic power.
Let's analyze the process itself, because it defines his philosophy. He established a communal recording process.
Right. He flew in his favorite producers, artists, musicians, people like Bon Iver's, Justin Vernon, and Gil Scott-Heron, to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
He kept engineers behind the boards constantly and slept only in brief increments. This wasn't just collaboration. It was a focused, almost military-style dedication to creating a perfect, extravagant product.
And the final album was a commercial and critical triumph. It was known for its maximalist philosophy, exploring themes of celebrity, excess, power, and regret.
He promoted it innovatively, too, with the Good Fridays program. He offered a free download of unreleased tracks every Friday for months leading up to the release.
It was also accompanied by that impressive 35-minute short film, Runaway, which he wrote, directed, and starred in. It proved his commitment to unified multimedia aesthetics.
But even though the album won multiple Grammys, its omission as a contender for Album of the Year was widely seen as a glaring snub.
Possibly reflecting some lingering distaste from the VMA incident.
After this incredible solo resurgence, the collaborations continued, most notably Watch the Throne in 2011 with Jay-Z.
Beyond the music, that project was a huge success in digital strategy. He successfully avoided leaks using a digital first release. Not many major albums had managed that in the internet age.
It just demonstrated his control over product distribution and narrative rollout.
Then came the next major stylistic pivot, born from an almost antagonistic impulse, Yeezus in 2013.
This album was explicitly intended to undermine the commercial. It was raw, abrasive, influenced by high modernist architecture, acid house, industrial rap,
and Chicago drill music. And the sources reveal a defining anecdote about his perfectionism here. Only 15 days before the album was due, he was dissatisfied with the sound.
So he contacts legendary producer Rick Rubin to completely strip down the entire record.
Rubin removed layers of polished production, resulting in that notoriously minimalist industrial sound. While it debuted at #1, it marked his lowest solo opening week sales.
Which ironically reinforced his success in achieving an anti-commercial sound.
And that desire for total aesthetic control was simultaneously manifesting outside of music. His focus expanded far beyond the studio.
Right into the demanding world of design and commerce. His interest in fashion was evident early. He interned at Fendi in 2009.
But the true business leap, the one that turned him into a multi-billion-dollar entrepreneur, was the Adidas Yeezy collaboration, confirmed in late 2013.
The Yeezy Boosts and the clothing line launched in 2015. This wasn't just a sneaker deal, it was a revolution in the luxury sneaker and casual wear space.
It introduced minimalist design and neutral palettes to the mainstream. And by 2016, his contract was extended to include sport performance products, basketball, football, soccer.
He became the second musical artist to achieve such a vast, major fashion empire, disrupting the market by creating deliberate scarcity and high demand. This brand was valued at over $1 billion.
And simultaneously, he channeled his intellectual and artistic ambitions through Donda, established in 2012 and named after his mother.
His stated goal was to pick up where Steve Jobs left off by convening creatives to simplify and aesthetically improve everything we see, taste, touch, and feel.
Donda was notoriously secretive, no official website or social media, yet it defined his consistent aesthetic from his album packaging to his fashion shows.
That ambition even extended into architecture. By 2018, he announced Yeezy Home, teasing plans for affordable, concrete, prefabricated homes for social housing.
The vision was always total. Art, music, product, and shelter, all under one simplified, Donda-inspired aesthetic umbrella. But as his empire grew, so did the turbulence.
The era culminated with The Life of Pablo in 2016, an album whose creation mirrored the chaos of his life. It went through multiple title changes, Swish, Waves,
and tracklist revisions right up to the minute of its release. He released it exclusively on Tidal, and then, unprecedentedly, continued to modify the track mixes post-release.
He proclaimed the work a living, breathing, changing creative expression. This wasn't just an artistic whim, it was a revolutionary digital strategy.
The Life of Pablo became the first streaming-only album to go platinum in the US, which fundamentally altered how the industry viewed album consumption in the digital age.
Yet the genius of this constantly revising album was immediately juxtaposed with severe public provocation. The famous video with the nude wax figures of celebrities.
An intense provocation that coincided with the difficult St. Pablo tour, which featured that physically demanding suspended mobile stage.
The sources clearly show the toll of this relentless maximalism and public aggression. Following a week of no shows and erratic political rants, he abruptly canceled the remaining 21 dates of the tour in November 2016.
He was subsequently hospitalized for psychiatric observation, diagnosed with a temporary psychosis from sleep deprivation and extreme dehydration. This was the definitive, highly public breakpoint.
A direct consequence of the unsustainable pressure cooker environment he had created for himself since MBDTF.
He took an 11-month public break afterwards. The pursuit of perfection led directly to collapse.
So when Ye re-emerged from that long public break, the new phase of his career was defined by these dramatic recording sessions in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, starting around 2017.
This period marked a profound shift in personal identity and thematic focus, often mixing deep artistic insights with increasingly inflammatory public statements.
His intellectual output was also changing. He announced plans for a philosophy book, Break the Simulation, which he later said he was sharing in real time on Twitter as life coaching.
The idea was he was living his philosophy in public using social media as his publishing platform. This period saw intense creative bursts, including 5 album production credits in 1 year.
Right, his solo album Yay and the collaborative Kids See Ghosts.
And the sources note that he allegedly scrapped his original recording for Ye and re-recorded the entire album within a month after that infamous TMZ incident.
So again, a relentless commitment to rapid stylistic change based on immediate life events.
The ultimate expression of his desired self-definition came in 2021 when he legally changed his name from Kanye West to simply Ye, citing personal reasons.
He had used the name for years, claiming it meant you in the Bible and represented him without an ego. An interesting claim for someone so defined by his ego.
This identity shift was deeply intertwined with a massive spiritual focus. This began with his weekly Sunday service events in 2019.
And that spiritual commitment culminated in the gospel Christian rap album Jesus is King in 2019, which was a commercial phenomenon. It achieved a historical record.
That record highlights his unparalleled commercial reach. Jesus is King became the first album ever to simultaneously top 5 Billboard charts. The Billboard 200, R&B, hip-hop, rap, Christian, and gospel charts.
It proved he could pivot genres entirely and still command global commercial supremacy.
His subsequent releases, including Donda in 2021, continued this pattern of chaos and spectacle. Donda was released after multiple highly publicized listening parties,
including one where he was temporarily living in an Atlanta stadium locker room to finish recording.
And adding to the drama, West later claimed the album was released early without his approval, reinforcing his narrative of being an artist constantly fighting corporate forces.
Meanwhile, the volatility extended fully and awkwardly into the political arena. He launched an independent campaign for president in 2020 under the birthday party banner,
claiming, "When we win is everybody's birthday." His platform advocated for a consistent life ethic, including anti-abortion views and America First diplomacy.
This campaign was marked by public contradictions, though. He admitted to Forbes he was ignorant on issues such as taxes and foreign policy.
The results were minimal, only 0.32% of the vote. However, the sources highlight a deeply controversial detail. The campaign was later alleged to have received millions of dollars in services from a secret network of Republican operatives.
We have to report this impartially, as it adds a lot of complexity to his political motivations. It raised serious questions among campaign finance experts.
He announced intentions to run again in 2024, at one point asking Donald Trump to be his running mate.
A request that Trump was reportedly caught off guard by.
And though he later confirmed he was not a candidate for office in 2024, the public cycle of extreme political ambition followed by retraction and chaos was established.
This period post-2018 has also been marked by increasingly frequent and intensely controversial public statements.
He infamously stated that the 400-year enslavement of Africans sounds like a choice, though he later clarified this referred to mental enslavement.
He apologized for the comment, but then deemed abortion, genocide, and population control of Black people in 2022. It shows an inability to back away from highly charged commentary.
And we must pause here to thematically group the dense information about his personal health and escalating legal challenges. The history of his mental health diagnosis is complex and inconsistent.
He was diagnosed with bipolar disorder in 2016, a diagnosis he has publicly accepted and then subsequently suggested was a misdiagnosis, often attributing his issues to sleep deprivation.
The sources show a cycle of acceptance and rejection of that diagnosis. He accepted it again in 2019, and then most recently in November 2025 during a meeting with a rabbi,
where he attributed his anti-Semitic remarks to his struggles with the disorder, stating the condition would take my ideas to an extreme.
The sources also detail other severe struggles, including an addiction to opioids prescribed after liposuction, which may have contributed to his 2016 breakdown, alongside addictions to alcohol, sex, and pornography.
He also publicly revealed suicidal ideation, and adding another layer, in 2025, he claimed to have received a professional autism diagnosis.
The legal turmoil has paralleled this personal instability, escalating rapidly in 2024 and 2025. The sources list multiple lawsuits from former partners and employees alleging misconduct.
Racial discrimination, wrongful termination, sexual harassment, sexual assault, and even strangulation on a music video set.
One particularly troubling legal footnote involves a celebrity dentist whom Ye and his wife sued in 2025, alleging malpractice for facilitating an addiction to nitrous oxide.
The sources claim his former chief of staff alleged the dentist was charging as much as $50,000 a month to supply this dependency. It highlights an extreme level of dysfunction.
But the most professionally and commercially devastating controversy began in late 2022. The anti-Semitic fallout.
His repeated, extreme anti-Semitic views led to the immediate termination of major partnerships with Adidas, Gap, UMG, and others.
This was the ultimate consequence of his inability to separate private opinion from professional conduct. It culminated in a December 2022 interview on InfoWars where he praised Adolf Hitler, denied the Holocaust, and self-identified as a Nazi.
He was subsequently suspended from Twitter after posting a swastika entangled in a Star of David.
The sources document a painful and sustained cycle of apology and retraction. He issued multiple apologies, some in Hebrew in late 2023, only to immediately follow up with contradictory statements.
Like arguing that black people cannot be anti-Semitic because they are Jew, and later stating, some of the stuff I was saying was true. This consistent pattern created a deep sense of public mistrust.
The cultural repercussions were immediate and severe. The School of the Art Institute of Chicago rescinded his honorary doctorate.
And his rhetoric led to instances of hate speech vandalism across the United States. His actions effectively turned him into a cultural and business pariah, according to Rolling Stone, culminating in the loss of that foundational Adidas partnership he had spent nearly a decade meticulously building.
And the cycle even continued in 2025. His May 2025 renouncement of anti-Semitism, stating he was done with anti-Semitism and asking God to forgive me for the pain I've caused, was immediately followed by intense questioning of his sincerity.
It shows that his erratic behavior has conditioned the public to expect the retraction, to follow the apology.
So when we step back from the turbulence of the last few years, the achievements that earned him his status are just staggering. This is why he remains such a globally compelling and complex act.
His musical legacy is defined by relentless stylistic shifts and an unparalleled experimental approach, while somehow always retaining accessible pop sensibilities.
Critics note his unique lyrical ability to pivot seamlessly from shrewd social commentary to comical braggadocio to deep introspection. He consistently wanted his lyrics to be inclusive, easily comprehended by diverse backgrounds.
We tracked those shifts chronologically, but look at the breadth, from pioneering chipmunk soul on The College Dropout
to the orchestral chamber pop on Late Registration, the stadium-filling arena rock of Graduation, the synth-driven electropop of 808s, and the abrasive industrial rap and acid house of Usus.
That genre exploration, which also includes trap, psychedelic, and gospel, shows an unparalleled willingness to completely reinvent his sonic signature every few years.
And this constant reinvention resulted in a massive transformative influence. NME ranked him as the third most influential artist in music globally in 2014.
He is widely credited with changing hip-hop's mainstream, helping to end the commercial dominance of the hardcore gangster mold and paving the way for a more emotionally vulnerable style of rap,
which dominates today's landscape. And the sheer diversity of the artists citing him as a major influence speaks volumes.
It's prominent hip-hop artists like Drake, Nicki Minaj, Lil Uzi Vert, Chance the Rapper.
But also non-rap artists across the spectrum, like Adele, Lorde, Arctic Monkeys, and James Blake. His production and genre fusion broke down barriers for subsequent generations.
And his commercial and critical success backs up his influence completely. He is one of the world's best-selling artists, 160 million records sold.
He has 24 Grammy Awards, making him the 12th most awarded artist of all time, and he's the first rapper to top the Billboard Hot 100 across 3 distinct decades, the 2000s, 2010s, and 2020s.
Critically, the sources confirm the sustained high quality of his work. 6 of his solo albums are on Rolling Stone's 2020 500 Greatest Albums of All Time list.
And having the joint most consecutive studio albums debut at #1 on the Billboard 209 albums is a testament to his persistent commercial appeal, even through periods of intense public scrutiny.
The mastery, purely measured by artistic output and industry influence, is historically significant. It's undeniable.
So we've mapped the vast and often volatile landscape of Ye's career. From the rebellious producer struggling for a rap deal to the architect of a multimedia empire that spanned fashion, architecture with Yeezy Home, technology with Donda.
And multiple presidential runs. The sheer volume and diversity of his creative output, spanning everything from chipmunk soul to industrial rap and gospel, is matched only by the intensity and volatility of his public conduct.
Right. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, he truly embodies the tension between extreme artistic vision, meticulously investing $2 million in late registration, stripping down Yeezus 15 days before release, obsessively revising the life of Pablo as a living album.
And the profound consequences of that ego-driven, often perfectionist creativity spilling violently into life and politics. The source material shows a consistent, recurring, and devastating pattern.
Moments of undeniable genius are immediately followed by polarizing, erratic acts that often lead to profound personal and commercial loss.
The most salient example, as we detailed, is the loss of that massive multi-billion-dollar Adidas partnership after years of painstaking work building the Yeezy brand.
A consequence directly tied to the anti-Semitic rhetoric he pursued. For someone seeking knowledge quickly, understanding Yee requires holding two profoundly contradictory truths simultaneously.
He is one of the most creatively successful and influential figures of the 21st century.
And yet he is a public figure whose words and actions, often attributed to his struggles with bipolar disorder and other addictions, led to widespread condemnation, escalating legal issues, and professional isolation.
We've tracked how he tried to conceptualize his life as art, announcing plans to break the simulation, his planned philosophy book, and how he sought a self-defined identity, legally changing his name to Ye.
Only to find himself entangled in complex lawsuits, health issues, and cycles of hateful rhetoric, followed by public apologies.
This complex trajectory raises an important question that summarizes his decades-long career of highs and catastrophic lows.
When an artist attempts to define their own reality through constant public self-definition and radical stylistic shifts, pushing boundaries and courting extreme responses, is that radical self-expression a necessary component of their revolutionary art? Or does that intentional self-created chaos become the primary barrier to lasting, stable mastery? That is something for you to mull over as you consider the cost of relentless, absolute artistic freedom.